am Margaret Collins, age 59, unmarried, living in a tranquil part of Oregon. For nearly 2 decades, I have worked as an office manager at a law firm. I raised 2 children, my daughter Emily, who just turned 32, and my son Luke, who is 29, devoting much of my adult life to making sure they would never endure the struggles I went through. On a recent Tuesday, I received an email that changed my entire world. The sender was Emily. There was no subject line, only her name showing in my inbox. I smiled before opening it, thinking it might be a quick note or a loving message before her big day. We had recently talked about her wedding plans several weeks earlier. I had already sent $30,000 to help her secure the venue, hire a photographer, and book the florist she had loved since her college years. But after reading the message, my smile vanished. "Mom," the message started. "Not dear Mom, just Mom like a label." Emily explained that she along with her fiancé Andrew and his family had finalized the guest list for the ceremony in Napa Valley. After much discussion, they decided it would be better for me to watch the wedding through online streaming, not in person. She mentioned that Andrew's mother was particular about the guest count and wanted to keep things intimate. Near the end, she included a line that felt like insult to an existing wound. "If you want to join, you can watch it through the Google Meet link we have created. It should be the same as being there physically." Laughing out loud. Laughing out loud. I stared at that screen for a long time. My drink became cold. My hands stayed still. I cried no tears. Something inside me quietly shifted like the ground had cracked underneath, but I remained standing. I replied with just 4 words. "Sure. Have a great big day." Without emotion, without argument, just a quiet withdrawal. And I knew deeply that those 4 words would echo more strongly than any scream. I had no wish to fight. I had no wish for crying. I wanted clarity. I wanted the silence to speak independently. I closed the laptop, drank my now cold drink, and got ready for work as though it were a normal Tuesday. But it was not. That marked the moment I stopped pretending as though my contributions held importance to my daughter. That marked the moment everything began to shift. The drive to the office that morning was silent. Oregon's early spring air still held a chill, but I barely noticed it. My mind kept returning to the same question. How did our relationship reach this point? I have spent 18 years working at Caldwell Walker Law. It lacks glamour, but it offers stability. And stability was my necessity after my husband's sudden death when our kids remained teenagers. I remember standing before our old washing machine. Bills spread across the counter trying to figure out how to buy both groceries and Emily's upcoming college tuition. During that time, I never thought twice about giving up my days off. I took extra shifts, canceled planned vacations, skipped birthday parties. I told myself chances for myself would come later. They never came. Every dollar I saved went to Emily and Luke. When Emily changed her major twice and needed extra classes, I paid for it. When she moved across the country for a short job opportunity in New York, I covered her first payment and plane ticket. When she cried through her second relationship breakup at 27, I flew there, held her close, and made her warm drinks in a strange apartment. When Luke wanted to buy a house with his fiancée, I co-signed the mortgage and gave the first $10,000 payment without hesitation. I never kept track. That is what mothers do, right? But that message made me feel like a business transaction, as though I had been useful and now was not. As though I had an expiration date and it had passed. Back at the office, my boss Robert came to my desk. He represents those rare men who remember important dates and your drink choices. He noticed something was wrong right away. "You look as though you have seen something disturbing," he said, putting a drink from the shop downstairs on my desk. I wanted to tell him. I wanted to say my daughter just excluded me from her wedding, but instead I smiled and said I had not slept well. He did not push further. That small gesture of kindness, the drink, the silence almost broke me. After all the emotional chaos that morning, it reminded me that I still existed, that I still had worth, even if only quietly. During the lunch hour, my phone buzzed. Emily again. Her name lit my screen like a warning. I had no interest in voice messages, text messages. "Mom, please answer. We need to talk. This is not funny." I did not check any messages. Not now. I just sat there drinking my drink and thought, maybe the time has come to stop being the person who always answers. Maybe the time has come to stop playing a role in someone else's story when they refuse to let you on the stage. That afternoon, I made a decision that would change the ground beneath all of us. I would not yell. I would not beg. I planned to do something far more powerful. I planned to take action. After work, I did not go straight to my house. I drove to First Federal Bank, a few blocks from the office. Carlos, the branch manager, had helped me with many things from opening college accounts to adjusting retirement funds. He always recognized me by name. "Mrs. Collins," he smiled, standing to shake my hand. "What can I do for you today?" I sat across from him and placed my purse on the counter. My voice was calm, maybe too calm. I need to cancel a wire transfer, I said. He looked confused. The transfer to the Napa venue. Yes, that transfer. Carlos hesitated. There might be a cancellation fee depending on timing, but may I ask why? The circumstances have changed, I replied without elaborating. He checked something on his screen. You have lucky timing. It has not finished processing yet. Just in time. He paused, then looked at me. Are you sure, Mrs. Collins? $50,000 is a significant amount. I nodded. I am sure. $50,000. That was the amount I had planned to send next in addition to the $30,000 already gone. $80,000 total for a wedding I was banned from attending. I signed the necessary forms and left the bank without looking back. When I got to my house, there were 9 missed calls from Emily, 2 from Luke. One voice message just said, "Mom, please do not do this." I turned off my phone. In the kitchen, I grabbed the bottle of red wine I had been saving for Thanksgiving. I had not opened it during that holiday. Emily was supposed to come, but she canceled last-minute work, she said. I poured a glass, carried it outside to the front porch, and sat in the fading light. Birds sang in the bushes. A neighbor's dog barked. Everything felt still. And then the memories began coming in waves. All the birthday parties I threw alone. All the holiday dinners where I pretended as though I was not expecting a call that never came. All the small sacrifices that nobody noticed. The new shoes I did not buy. The car I drove for 14 years. The trips I postponed. I thought about Andrew's mother. The woman who barely knew Emily. Yet her opinion mattered more than mine. The woman whose idea of family meant excluding the only person who had supported Emily through every hard phase of her life. I thought about how Emily ended her message with laughing out loud, as though watching your own daughter's wedding through a screen was amusing. And finally, I thought about myself, not as a mother, not as a widow, but as a woman. What did I want? Peace, dignity, a life that did not revolve around being useful to people who only showed up when they needed something. That night, around 9 o'clock in the evening, the doorbell rang. I thought about ignoring it, but curiosity got to me. It was Luke, still in his work clothes, tie loose, sleeves rolled. He looked anxious, holding his phone in one hand like armor. "Mom," he said, entering before I could speak. "Why are you not answering your phone? Emily is upset." I shut the door quietly. "Hello to you too." He sighed, already pacing. "She says you are not coming to the wedding now, that you are being difficult." I laughed. Difficult for not attending a wedding I was excluded from. He shuffled awkwardly. "Andrew's parents are paying for most of the cost. Mom, you know how traditional they are." I raised an eyebrow. Traditional. I already paid $30,000. I was about to send 50,000 more. That is not tradition. That is a business deal. He stopped. "Wait, you were sending another 50. Was I said, sipping my wine. "But not now." Luke's face went pale. "Mom, they are counting on that. The venue, the food, the not my problem now," I said evenly. His voice rose. "Of course, it is your problem. She is your daughter. And I am her mother," I said calmly. A mother who was told to stay at her house and watch from a screen. He ran his hands through his hair, clearly agitated. "You always make everything about yourself." And that was it. That was the moment something inside me finally broke. "Leave my house." "What?" "You heard me, Luke. Leave." "Mom." "No," I said, firm but soft. "I have given everything I had, and I am done being the villain in a story I wrote with love." Luke stood there for a moment longer, then turned and left. The door clicked behind him softly, but it felt louder than any slam. I stood in the middle of my living room, heart pounding, and realized something amazing. I did not feel guilt. I felt freedom. The next morning, I woke to 43 missed calls and a series of frantic messages from Emily. They started with passive-aggressive apology. "Mom, we need to talk. Why are you doing this? This is childish." Then the tone changed. "The venue just called. The wire did not go through. We are going to lose everything if we do not pay by tomorrow. Andrew's parents are furious. They said this proves they were right about you." At 3:24 in the morning, she sent. "I do not understand why you are doing this to me." I smiled into my drink. Of course, she did not understand. Emily had grown up with my sacrifices woven so deeply into her life that she never stopped to examine where the comfort came from, the security, the stability. She just assumed it would always be there, that I would always be there. But not this time. Later that morning, while I was reviewing contracts at my desk, an email arrived in my personal inbox. The subject line read, "Please do not ruin my wedding." I opened it without expectation. "Mom," she wrote, "I know you are upset about the Livestream thing, but this is too much. We have lost the venue deposit, and if we do not pay the balance by end of day Paris time, the caterer pulls out. Andrew's parents are very upset. They are saying, this proves you cannot be reasoned with. Please do not do this. We can talk about you coming to the ceremony, but we need the money first." There it was. They were willing to discuss letting me attend now that the money was gone. Not an apology, not a thought, a negotiation. As though my presence at my own daughter's wedding could be bargained, bought, or traded based on how generous I was feeling. I did not reply. I closed the message and went back to my work. At noon, and Robert came to my desk. Lunch, he suggested. That new Italian place just opened. I almost declined as I usually did, but something in me changed. Maybe it was the clarity of the last 24 hours. Maybe I just needed to put myself somewhere that did not ask anything from me. So, I agreed. I would like that. Over pasta, he told me about his grandkids and how exhausting but wonderful it was to chase them. His face was kind. Real. He stopped and said gently, "Forgive me, Margaret, but you seem lighter today." I surprised myself. I told him everything about Emily, the message, the wedding, the money, and what I did. When I finished, he did not judge. He did not try to fix anything. He just said, "Sometimes the hardest part of love is setting boundaries, especially with the people we have given the most to." He reached across the counter and briefly squeezed my hand. "I think you did the right thing." For the first time in a long time, I thought that too. When I got back to my desk, there were more calls, more texts, but I did not answer. I did not need to because for the first time, my silence spoke volumes. That evening, as I pulled into my driveway, the air was already darkening. The porch light turned on automatically. Everything looked still peaceful, even. But there was someone sitting on my front steps. As I came closer, I recognized her. Sophia. She stood quickly, brushing imaginary dust from her dress. Sophia had been Emily's best friend since 5th grade. She spent countless weekends at our house, making cookies, watching movies, laughing in sleeping bags until dawn. I had not seen her in years. "Mrs. Collins," she said quietly. "I am sorry to show up like this." "It is okay," I replied, unlocking the door. "Would you like some hot tea?" She followed me into the kitchen, her eyes scanning the familiar counters. They held old echoes. I filled the kettle and waited. "Emily sent you?" I finally asked. She did not answer immediately. "Then she is in chaos. They lost the venue." The florist backed out. "Andrew's parents are threatening to cancel the wedding." I said nothing, placing 2 cups on the counter. "She is panicking," Sophia continued. "She knows she made a mistake. She just does not know how to fix it." "Is that why you are here?" I asked. "To fix it." She shook her head. "No, I am here to ask. Is there anything she can say or do to change your mind?" I hesitated. Was there? Would an apology change how it felt to be excluded? To be used like a bank? To be told you are not good enough unless your money is? I looked at Sophia, still young, still hopeful. "No," I said quietly. "There is not." Her shoulders dropped. "Not even if she apologizes." I handed her a cup of hot tea. "Words are easy, Sophia, especially when people are desperate, but the people who love you, they do not wait until you break them to see you." Sophia looked down into her hot tea, nodding slowly. "I understand it," she said. "Even if she does not." "I am sorry, Mrs. Collins." "You do not need to be," I replied. We sat in silence for a minute. 2 women from different generations connected by one hard truth. Sometimes love has limits. Sometimes the only way to be seen is to leave. Sophia did not stay long. She did not try to argue. She just said thanks, hugged me softly, and walked back into the night. And I finally closed the door on a version of myself I had long outgrown. The wedding never happened, not as they planned. Apparently, they tried to find another venue, but everything was either booked or too expensive without the money I had once promised. According to Luke, they ended up doing a small backyard ceremony weeks later, just a few family and Andrew's parents. I was not invited, and this time I did not need to be. In the weeks that followed, Emily sent one more message, a long one. Emotional, part apology, part excuse. I read it once, then archived it. I was not angry anymore, just finished. There is a strange relief that comes with letting go, not in anger, but in understanding. For the first time in decades. I woke not wondering who needed something from me, not planning for another guilt trip disguised as love. I made a new rule for myself. If my presence is negotiable, then so is my effort. I go to work. I read books. I joined a pottery class. I have dinners with friends who see me, not what I can give them. And I have learned something I wish I had known sooner. You do not have to burn yourself to keep others warm. If this story resonated with you, share it, comment below, and do not forget to like and subscribe. Sometimes the strongest form of love is the one you finally give to yourself.